Next up, a special edition of Beyond the News, terror in the Rockies. Now, here's what we know. Two trench-coated teens with guns and a homemade bomb massacred a dozen schoolmates and a teacher in Littleton, Colorado, then shot and killed themselves. Now, here's what we don't know, why they did it and how they could have pulled it off. But today we're going to try to find out. We'll talk to two Littleton students who survived, a get-tough principal who patrolled his school with a baseball bat, and father of a teenager killed by another teen, right after the news.
Now, I'm Molly Falconer. The NATO summit in Washington has wrapped up with no sign of a let-up in the Allied air war or any surrender in Belgrade. David Schuster has the details.
The NATO summit may be over, but the air campaign against Yugoslavia continues. Air raid sirens were heard in Belgrade again Sunday night, although there were no reports of any explosions in the city. Meanwhile, NATO has released more cockpit video from attacks this week. NATO planes hit an oil refinery again in the city of Novi Sad, which is not too far from Belgrade. This is a refinery they have targeted several times, although military planners say this refinery is still operational. In addition, U.S. fighter jets hit a bridge moments after two cars passed over. This was a bridge in Serbia. NATO Commander General Wesley Clark spent Sunday in Albania with U.S. troops. Clark said he is satisfied with the damage inflicted so far.
The air campaign is right on schedule, really. We said it would be a serious and sustained effort. We said it would progressively intensify.
Clark was on hand to see the arrival of 7 more U.S. Apache helicopters. This brings the total in Albania to 19. Clark says that the helicopters should be ready for action soon, but it still may be a while until they are actually deployed in Kosovo, in part because the Pentagon said it is very worried about some of the Yugoslavian air defense systems that are still in place. And plus, military planners are also concerned that some of the Serbian military forces may have shoulder-launched missiles capable of bringing down an Apache. Still, the NATO air campaign continues. Sources say that NATO has twice as much firepower available as when the war started nearly 5 weeks ago. At the Pentagon, David Schuster, Fox News.
Next update at the bottom of the hour, but first stay tuned for a special one-hour edition of Beyond the News. We'll take a look at what causes a tragedy like the one in Colorado.
Welcome to a special one-hour edition of Beyond the News. I'm Dr. Georgia Witkin, and we're going to be talking about terror in the Rockies. There's still so many questions. Why did two teenage boys go on a suicide mission, killing a dozen classmates and a teacher before killing themselves? How did they get their hands on guns and bombs, created a hate-filled webpage, and belonged to a group calling themselves the Trenchcoat Mafia without anyone noticing? And, of course, what happens next? My guests here in the studio are Joe Clark, probably America's most famous principal. He inspired the movie Lean on Me about his controversial methods for turning around a troubled school. He's now director of a juvenile detention center in New Jersey. Dr. Casey Jordan, a criminologist who has worked with emotionally disturbed and high-risk youth. Lisa Evers, co-founder of the Guardian Angels, reporter and host of a youth-oriented talk show. And Al Valentin, a gun control activist whose 17-year-old son, Derek Paul, was shot and killed by another teenager 4 years ago. But first, we're going to go straight out to our Denver bureau and meet two students who were at Columbine High School when the shooting took place, Chris Hooker and Bo Baraboo. Hi, both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris, let me start with you. How are you feeling today, right now? Still in shock, or is it wearing off?
It's still a shock, but, you know, it's a time to heal. It's a time to recover and hang out with your friends. And, I mean, you're never going to forget this happened, but you have to recover. You can't live in shock the rest of your lives.
Right. And being with friends is helping, you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. It's helping a lot. I mean, it's brought the community together. It's brought the school together. It's made us stronger. And I think we're going to recover, and we're going to go back to our old school. And we have a lot of pride in our school, and we're not going to let anything happen to it.
So you really want to go back there?
There are a lot of people who want to go back. But then again, you have to think of the victims who were in the cafeteria and who are in the library. What are they going to think when they go back? Are they going to have flashbacks? Or I mean, you don't know what's going to happen.
Chris, did you know, well, anyone who was shot?
Yeah.
Who was that?
I knew Isaiah, and I knew Laura Townsend, and I knew Rachel Scott, but I didn't know her very well, but I still knew her, and they were friends. And it's Isaiah, when I heard the news, it broke my heart, and I don't know how I'm going to live with that, because, I mean, just talking to Isaiah that day, and knowing those were going to be my last words to him.
Bo, let me ask you to join in here. When you think of that day, what's the one image, Bo, in your mind that keeps coming up and up again?
It has to be the two students I saw right outside that get shot. Just can't think of anything else but that. It's the worst thing that I saw.
How do you, Bo, make sense out of this? What do you say to yourself? What do you say happened here?
You know, I really don't know.
I'm the only one here.
I just pray for the victims and the injured and family and friends.
It's a
Yeah.
really tough experience. Yeah,
You're saying it's a tough experience.
it is. I mean, it's, like I said, it's nothing you're going to forget. But when you think of when I think of Isaiah, I know he didn't die in vain, along with the rest of the students, because good did come out of this. The gun bill was dropped. Nobody can carry a concealed weapon now. I mean, we're getting prayers and help from all over the world. People are donating blood, and like I said, it's made us stronger. And you're just happy to see people from the school that maybe you weren't friends with before, but you know, now we're all friends, and nothing's going to tear us apart.
You know, you have images you will never forget. Outside of the community, everyone is trying to figure out why this happened, perhaps even blame somebody so they can figure out how it may never happen again. How about the two of you? Let me ask you first, Bo, and then you, Chris. Do you blame somebody for this?
I don't know. I feel really guilty myself.
Why is that?
Because, I mean, I was so, scared, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know if I should have came around the corner and picked up the guy that I get shot. And I'm guilty to be here right now, and it's hard. It's really hard.
You know, the world is very happy that you both were lucky, and you know that it is a normal reaction to feel guilty that you survived. But were you having those same feelings?
I am having a feeling of guilt. I think that the way I got out of there so quick, I mean, my first reaction, my first thought was my little brother, who I knew was in the cafeteria at the time. He had first lunch, and when I heard what was going on, I ran immediately, as fast as I could, towards the cafeteria. At that point, somebody grabbed me and told me there's gunfire in there. I told him, I know, but my little brother's in there, and I have to get to him first. And so I turned around and started running with them, and at that point, I started running towards the cafeteria, and I wasn't able to get as far as the cafeteria. There were too many students, and the cops were at the building, and so I went immediately to the Columbine Library. But still, it's a terrible experience, and any pop I hear, I think of gunfire. Any laugh, I mean, if it's a high-pitched laugh, I think it's a scream, or any cry. I mean, this is what I'm going to think about, and this is what I'm going to have to remember the rest of my life.
You're really helping us to understand very much what your reactions are. We're going to take a break now. Bo and Chris, stay with us. We're going to have guests in the studio joining us, and we're going to try to understand how this happened. You know, are we talking about kids who were born bad or kids who really went bad? So you stay with us, and we'll all come back, and we'll try to sort that out. Thank you.
Morning seems so much brighter after a good night's sleep. That's why I love my Tylenol PM. It stops my pain and helps me sleep. So in the morning, I'm rested, refreshed, ready to make the most of my day.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM.
A woman's prerogative to change her mind. A man's prerogative to change it back.
White diamonds from Elizabeth Taylor.
I never forget a woman in diamonds.
Choose one of 2 gifts with a $47.50 White Diamonds purchase.
Where's your Aussie friend now?
Right here. The Subaru Forester. With more horsepower than a Honda CR-V, it's one sport utility that's full of surprises.
Like me, for example.
Looks like another scorcher.
Hey, Mrs. Johnson.
You'd be surprised how much the right air conditioner can save on your monthly cooling costs. American Standard, cutting the cost to cool. Learn how to choose the air conditioning and heating system that's right for your home. Call 1-800-270-4528 for your free At Home with Comfort video.
You see a performance vehicle. At Sprint, that's how we see the Internet. It's about Sprint's Internet reliability and quick response. It's about your suppliers knowing exactly what you need the moment you do, so you can get more product out the door. It's about reaching customers in new ways and maximizing your share of market. Fact is, Sprint recently won Datacom Magazine's highest award for Internet reliability. Because business runs on data, and data runs on Sprint.
Questions, comments, or just want to speak out on today's issues, visit Fox News Viewer Services at foxnews.com or call us at 1-888-369-4762. The power of a free press. At Fox News Channel, that freedom comes with a responsibility to report news fairly, to balance out the issues, to make sure you have the freedom and the power to decide. Fox News Channel. We report, you decide.
Everyone's playing them off like they're really screwed up kids, and they really weren't. I mean, obviously, they had to be kind of screwed up to do this, but...
Kind of screwed up.
They were nice guys. Everyone I know who knew them is incredibly shocked that this happened.
Welcome back. We're talking about the tragedy in Littleton, Colorado, with 2 students who were at Columbine High when the shooting took place, Chris Hooker and Bo Baraboo. Chris and Bo, you just saw or heard that young man talking about Dylan. You knew Eric and Dylan. He's saying they weren't bad boys. What's your reaction to that?
I saw Dylan a lot around the school. I think he was a senior, and which I'm a freshman, so I don't have any classes with him. But when you look at him, it didn't think that he'd do anything like this. But of course, I wasn't a real friend of him. And the other suspect, Harris, I can't paste a picture with him in school, so I didn't see him really.
You know, out here, people are looking for answers, and they're saying maybe it's the media, maybe it's computer games, maybe it's the words to song, maybe it's the goth thing. Do you blame the media, Bo? Do you think that really had anything to do with it?
I don't blame the media. I do have a strong feeling about the parents, though. I mean, I heard that a neighbor knew that the suspect Harris was making pipe bombs, but the parents don't. I don't know. Maybe they did know, but right then you have to take action, and you have to be more with your child, and you have to say what's going on. I mean, what is all this stuff, and why? What's going to happen? And you have to be more involved with your child.
So you think a lot of this rests on parents. You know, I'm going to ask you to stay and listen to what my guests in the studio say, because I'm really going to ask you the same question. You know, when you first saw the images and you first heard the news, you must have had some gut reaction of where you wanted to point the finger. Let's just go around the circle. Al, what was your first reaction? Whose fault was this?
The parents and guns.
Parents and guns.
I'm on the same page. It's parents and family.
Parents and family. Lisa?
I say here we go again. It's our love affair with violence that we're in denial about in our culture.
So you think it's the whole culture? It's
Absolutely.
what we're doing with violence?
I felt
What do you
that
think?
the principal, some assistant principals, some guidance counselors, some teachers should be tried as accomplices to this murder.
Because they didn't spot it.
They knew it. They knew something was wrong, and they did nothing to bring about corrective measures.
Chris,
and that's abominable.
Thank you. Chris, you heard what my guests were saying. Yes, one was saying, why didn't the school see it? Lisa was saying, oh, we love violence in this society. Kids are flooded with it. We've heard about guns from Al, whose son was killed himself. What do you think?
I'll tell you what. I blame Dylan and Eric. I blame anyone who was involved. And I'll tell you what. Columbine High School is the greatest school that I have ever gone to. The teachers are great, the principal is great, and they all care too much.
Okay, thank you. We're going to have to take a break right now. We'll come back for more warning signs to spotting kids. Are they really useful or just Monday night quarterbacking? Come on back and find out.
It's just laying on the bun.
That dog needs a new trick.
Beat the cold bun blues with Pillsbury Crescent Dogs. Just wrap them and bake them.
Aren't these dogs fun?
Good dog.
Now that's a dog. A sandwich just isn't a sandwich without the tangy zip of Miracle Whip.
A rainy day story from all. Every cloud can bring rain, but that's no reason to be blue. 'Cause rain leaves a scent that makes things fresh and new. Introducing new Fresh Rain All. It has the stain-lifting power of regular All, so it leaves your clothes clean with a Fresh Rain scent. For rain fresh scent, there's Fresh Rain, A-L-L, dog.
Frequent heartburn. Is it worse at night, especially after dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Have you treated it, even changed your diet, but still suffer 2 or more days a week?
Mm-hmm.
Has your heartburn been a persistent problem for you?
Uh-huh.
Your heartburn may be due to a potentially serious condition called acid reflux disease. Ask your doctor about Prilosec. For many people, 1 capsule daily provides 24-hour complete heartburn relief. Ask your doctor about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Want 24-hour heartburn relief with 1 daily dose? Ask your doctor about the 24-hour complete heartburn relief that's possible with Prilosec.
Now get the Wall Street Journal delivered for 13 weeks at just 57 cents a day, a 25% savings.
Call now, 800-861-9100. That's 800-861-9100 for the Wall Street Journal.
If you run your own business, you can get a free trial version of QuickBooks from the makers of Quicken. Stay tuned.
That one of your new designs?
That's QuickBooks, my accounting software. I'm using it to write checks for paying bills, even prints them out. I can see who owes me money or how much I made. I even created an invoice using my own logo.
Can it help track their time?
Time tracking and estimating is easy with QuickBooks Pro.
Okay, bring on the free trial.
Call for your free trial. You've got nothing to lose.
Call 1-800-437-4377.
Fox News Channel Daytime. The whole story in context. Facts presented fairly. The issues balanced, so you have the power to think for yourself. Fair and balanced. The most powerful name in news. Fox News Channel. We report, you decide.
There was a guy at a table right next to us, next to me and her, and they just shot him and then walked away, and then he was just sitting there in a pool of blood.
We started hearing shots in the hall, and then they came in and they all told us to get under the desk, and we all got under the desk, and then they just started coming in the library and opening fire and shooting off bombs.
Welcome back. You just heard children going through enormous pain. We're talking about the tragedy at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado. Bo and Chris, you just saw the tape of what your schoolmates were saying, but you also heard what we were saying here in the studio. Joe Clark, who was a principal for many years, was saying the school should be held responsible. Nobody saw. We're hearing people here saying, you know, it's the media and it's parents. But you don't feel that way, you're telling us.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, let's hear Chris. What you think it's just the two boys? It's Eric and Dylan.
It is Eric and it is Dylan, and it is our culture to blame. Like I said before, we have the greatest staff that I have ever seen. Our pride in the school is so high, and I love our staff. I would never change schools because they care all so much for the students. We have the highest test scores in the state. Our athletics is the best in the state. You couldn't ask for anything more.
Okay, let me ask you about the next comment. Lisa was saying the whole society is involved in violence. These boys were dressing in what looked to us like goth. That's a movement that involves music that speaks about violence and you know, phrases being very different and very odd and almost ghoulish. Do you think the lifestyle of Dylan and Eric contributed to this? Bo, why don't you take that?
Yes, I guess in some ways it does, but it doesn't matter what's around you. The movies and, I mean, the Doom software that he's playing or anything, it could be a lot of things, but it doesn't make it right that they go out and, I mean, they take this out on other students and a coach.
Okay. Dr. Wilkin, I think also, too, what I'd like to ask them, if we could find out, did they know that they had brought weapons to school in the past? Did they know that other people were bringing pipe bombs into the school? The amount of knowledge that we have about what has happened there, the amount of weaponry that was brought into the school, the planning that went into it, it's inconceivable to think that these two acted in complete isolation, that none of the other students knew about that school. And to Chris, I mean, first of all, I would like to say to all of the family members and friends there and staff, our condolences from myself and I'm sure from many other people about this terrible, terrible tragedy. But let's not sweep this under the rug. There had to be other people that knew about what was going on. There had to be other students that were in on this. And to say this can't happen, we had the highest test scores in the state. Yes, you may have had the highest test scores in the state, but there was also something else diabolical going on in that school.
Chris and Bo, you understand the question, right? 30 bombs in the school, these children dressing differently. We're hearing this history of the webpage. Tell me from inside, how is it that nobody knew?
No one didn't. The gang, Trenchcoat Mafia, they had some friends in there, and they didn't even know about it. I mean, their own gang didn't. So maybe some of their close friends, I don't know, maybe a cousin came in. Maybe they came in early, and maybe they came after school and planted a propane bomb in there. Who knows?
But, George, I have to jump in. They didn't wake up in the school. The school is the theater for their violence, but they wake up in a home where they have parents, they have family members, they're building bombs in their basement. So, yes, you know, you want to blame the school. There were warning signs there, but there had to have been warning signs first at home. So, you know, you don't want to point the fingers and say, oh, they're diabolical parents, but the parents had to be out of touch with what was going on in their children's lives, or it couldn't have escalated to this point.
Let's do this. You know, I'm a psychologist, but I'm not there, Bo and Chris. I didn't know these two young men, so I want you to play psychologist for a moment. If you were to be asked, and I'm asking you, to be a psychologist, what was wrong with Dylan and Eric? They were not the only kids dressing differently. They were not the only kids playing these games. They were not the only kids who had websites. Why did these two go wrong?
It could have been something just right in their life happened, and they just brought it out. Or maybe I heard that they have been planning this for a long time, and when they came into the school, they were saying that too. I mean, we've been waiting for this a long time and just shooting down the school.
But I'm confused because you said a moment ago that you really hadn't heard anything about this. So which is it?
No, I hadn't. I just heard it from, like, the media and other people that, I mean, they planned this on their website. They said 4/20, which was last Tuesday. I mean, hell's gonna break, and everybody, and we're going to be killed, but we're going to kill people.
Joe Clark, you ran a high school. You ran a very tough high school. Do you think when you hear stories like this, where everything's so undercover, that it means that we need metal detectors, we need uniforms where kids can't hide guns? Is that the answer, a crackdown?
Georgia, what it has done is give credence to what I did when I was principal of Eastside High School. I chained the doors to keep out the pathological deviants. And I used my baseball bat to let them know that I was not going to let anyone come into that school and wreak havoc and pain on innocent young people. Yes, we need to be more security conscious. Yes, it would not be a bad idea if we went to uniforms to get away from some of this diabolical behavioral patterns that we see emanating from clothing. These are all positive steps.
Bo and Chris, do you think that would provoke more rebellion and more problems, or do you think that might be part of the answer and protect people like you?
Well, we have a cop on duty. I mean, you can't really do much more. I mean, it was unexpected, and nobody knew a thing.
I can only say this, that
go ahead, Joe.
As having been principal of a large high school, 3,500 students, one of the largest in the nation, I can assure you that it is impossible for young people to have weapons, guns, and to conspire to do something as deadly as this occasion, and no one not knew it. Yes, students knew it. Yes, the principal had to be cognizant of it. Certainly some teachers knew about it. And more importantly, the parents had to be aware of the fact that their children were doing something that was antithetical to what should be going on.
So they might not have been the cause, but parents certainly have to be asked, why weren't they spotting it? I mean, you're a parent, you lost a child. To what extent do you hold parents responsible?
I'll tell you what, we're living in two different states here. One's in New Jersey, who has a crime rate unbelievable. We are the Mayberry of Colorado. There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of love.
Well, now you're the Armageddon of Colorado. I hate to say it, but that's you can't call yourself the Mayberry when...
You know what we're going to do? We're going to have to take a break here, but if you remember, most of these kinds of incidents have happened in suburbia, not in urban environments. So when we come back, we're going to find out why these heartbreaking massacres seem to be happening in the suburbs. Stick with us.
Don't try this with an ordinary pen. Introducing the revolutionary Penally Fountain Pen. This amazing pen features a unique iridium-tipped nib, specially crafted and constructed with Swiss precision engineering. It's hard, it's durable, it's virtually indestructible. No more blobbing because it comes with an ink flow control valve which ensures smooth and free-flowing action. You can choose to use the removable pump or the disposable cartridge. Because it's pressure sensitive, it adjusts to your own writing style. Thick line or thin line, left or right-handed. And unlike ordinary fountain pens, Penally writes in all directions just like a ball pen. Penally guarantees excellent performance first time, every time. And how much do you have to pay? $100? $50? No, it's yours for just $19.95. Plus, if you take advantage of this special offer, you'll also get 5 matching Penally pens absolutely free. You'll get this executive ball pen with a pocket-style refill system absolutely free. This roller ball pen writes practically on any surface, even upside down, also free. When you need more colors, this Combi tricolor pen writes blue, twist for green, and again for red, and it's also free. And this slim yet stylish ladies pen that fits perfectly in all handbags, also free. And this beautifully crafted mechanical pencil that writes and draws smoothly, also free. These are yours free with your Penally fountain pen. All exclusively designed in Italy and manufactured with patented Swiss technology using stainless steel construction. These pens take standard refills and come in individual gift boxes. This amazing collection is worth $110, but now it's yours for just $19.95. Be among the first 100 callers and you'll get this specially designed checkbook pen absolutely free. But wait, there's more. Call within the next 10 minutes and you'll get this 65-piece refill pack free, plus a lifetime replacement warranty for the Penally collection.
To order your Penally pen, have your credit card ready and call the number on your screen now, or send a check or money order to the address listed.
Sunday.
Our children are starving to death morally and spiritually. Who to blame, why it happened, and what we can do about it.
The debate heats up on This Evening with Judith Regan. Powerful primetime Sunday, only on the Fox News Channel. The conflict in Kosovo. Stay with the Fox News Channel for continuing coverage.
Fox News Now, I'm Molly Falconer. Folks in Littleton, Colorado are starting the healing process. Over 70,000 mourners attended Sunday's memorial for victims of the massacre at Columbine High. Investigators found a detailed diary in one of the suspects' homes. Colorado's governor says it suggests the parents may have known something.
They found in one of the gunman's homes clear evidence out sitting in the room of what was about to happen. And if that's true, I think that perhaps charges will be filed and certainly should be filed.
And Fox News has learned the two girlfriends of the suspects and some of their other friends weren't at school on the day of the shootings. Yugoslavia is blasting the Washington summit as, quote, NATO's bloody birthday party. The three-day summit celebrating NATO's 50th anniversary came to an end Sunday. The leaders spent much of it discussing the conflict in Kosovo. They insist the air campaign against Yugoslavia will succeed. They also pledge military protection and economic assistance to Yugoslavia's neighbors who stand with the West. Meanwhile, it's another night of airstrikes against Serb targets. Allied warplanes hit sites in northern and central Serbia, also knocking out another bridge over the Danube. Since Monica Lewinsky's debut Gab Fest with Barbara Walters, she's been everywhere, talking to everyone about everything. But now she says her feelings have been hurt, and she's not scheduling any more American interviews. She recently walked out of an interview with National Public Radio. She got miffed when asked how she could consider herself Clinton's soulmate, even though he'd confessed to hundreds of other affairs. A cruel mistake had passengers on a British Airways flight preparing for the worst. The crew accidentally played a recorded message warning a 747 would crash into the sea. It was a mistake.
It's probably one of the scariest ones I've ever been through. We just sat there for half an hour. I heard people pray for their husbands, their children, you name it. And at that point, these guys were killing just to kill.
You're seeing scenes from Littleton. We have two guests from Littleton. We have Bo and Chris. You know, right before we went to break, you were describing Littleton as a Mayberry. Here in the studio, Lisa Evers was really describing it as an Armageddon. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not an Armageddon. This, if anything, like I said, brought us together. We will rebuild, we will recover, and we will be stronger than ever, and this will never happen again. Yeah. We've learned, all of the students have learned a valuable lesson, and we will continue to take pride in our school, a loving community, a closed community.
Al, you think these young men are missing something? You've been through it. Your son was shot and killed by a teen.
Oh, I wish what he said was that true and that easy. It does not happen that way.
What doesn't happen that way? Where they're saying they're coming together and they're...
For example, my wife, when she turned on the TV and saw what was happening, the first reaction was she screamed and burst out crying. Now, this is almost 5 years later. We have to live this every time something like this happens. My daughter came the following day in hysterics in the morning after dropping her kids off from school because she's been trying to keep the TV off so that they won't see what happened, because my grandchildren, even though they were small, still have nightmares, still cry when they see something like this. And they were affected tremendously. And you may think that time or this going on is easy to control your emotions. No. You may be able to control them in public a little better, but the outbursts of feelings are always the same.
You know what mental health professionals know is that for a while there's a numbness that's very protective. You get a bit numb that helps you get through these stages. You're saying that the sadness lasts forever. It comes back in waves?
It comes back in waves and uncontrollable waves. I sit there sometimes. I've started crying while I was eating dinner. It just hits you. And what happens is you have nightmares. What happens is you get scared when your kids go out the door. You get scared when something like this happens again and again.
Yeah. Al, please talk to the two young men. You know what's coming. They don't. Give them some advice.
I would tell you to wake up and realize what happened, and don't think it's that easy that it's going to go away. People have to do something for it to go away. And by thinking that you're just living in a community that's safe, there is no safe community anymore.
Well, that's pretty clear. Do what? Do what, Al?
Well, like myself, I speak a lot. I speak a lot because I feel that people do make a difference. Are you going to change everyone? No. But there are things that people can do. The availability of guns is one of the worst things that's available right now. The difference between now and 20 years ago, there weren't that many guns in the street. We glorify guns. We glorify killings.
Bo and Chris, you might not know that 6,000 kids were suspended from school last year for carrying guns. Those are just the ones that are caught. You know what Al Valentin is talking about. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, no, I totally agree. You can't change a person. It does take time. I've talked to students who are having nightmares. But we are going to do something about it. We can't wait to get back to our school. We like I said, we love Columbine, and nobody can take away the memories. Nobody can forget what happened. It's important that you don't forget. And, I mean, you can't, it's not impossible to, or you can't stop someone from committing a crime. There's always a way. And whether you put metal detectors in or what be it, there's always going to be a way around it.
Bo, you know, you just heard a parent talking. What does your parents say about this? Are they blaming the parents of Eric and Dylan?
They really haven't said much to me, but I think they think the same way I do. I mean, if I was building some pipe bombs or if I had a gun, oh yeah, my mom would know that, definitely.
Everyone here in studio is nodding yes.
Sure,
yes.
I know that too. Dr. Wicken, and I want to put this against the background again of condolences for the family and an understanding that the pain for families who go through violence and friends is something that endures throughout a lifetime, unfortunately. But I want to look at the collective issue. What Chris was said earlier, we're not like those people in New Jersey. What that is, that attitude is part of the problem. You're talking about a horrible, horrific incident that happened on Hitler's birthday. They announced on their webpage it was going to happen on Hitler's birthday. You're talking about a neo-Nazi cult that was specifically targeted athletes and people of color. There were only a handful of black students there.
This was not a sudden, immediate reaction.
These are attitudes.
This was something that was...
And the attitudes, yes, you could put in all the metal detectors you want, but what has to happen is the attitudes have to change. The face of criminal behavior in this country is not just a black and Latino face, which is what we tend to think in white suburban America. Yeah. This is a behavior. This is an attitude. This is what has to be rooted out. This is what must be confronted before this healing process can really happen.
Chris, you're saying exactly. I'm going to ask you to hold that exactly for a moment. We're going to take a break, and we're going to talk about what Lisa's talking about. Warning signs, are they really any good? Are they not? So you come on back, all of you, and we'll talk about that.
Mom, the dog.
Ooh?
It's just laying on the bun.
Well, that dog needs a new trick.
Beat the cold bun blues with Pillsbury Crescent Dog. Just wrap them and bake them.
Aren't these dogs fun?
Good dog.
Security breach, sir. Somehow Johnson's had a pizza delivered. A delivery boy just waltzed in here?
Fancy crust, toppings? Looks that way, sir.
Find him now. Where's the delivery boy?
It's not delivery! It's DiGiorno!
The Rising Crust Pizza that bakes up fresh like pizzeria pizza. It's not delivery. It's DiGiorno.
Here, taste.
These days, seems like everybody's got a Cherokee or an Explorer. Me, I like to stand out a bit.
That's why I drive a Subaru Outback.
With a big cargo bay and all-wheel drive, you get all the stored utility you need. But with the smooth ride and better gas mileage, the Outback is far from ordinary. Like me, really. What a weird-looking bunch that was.
Frequent heartburn. Is it worse at night, especially after dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Have you treated it, even changed your diet, but still suffered 2 or more days a week?
Mm-hmm.
Has your heartburn been a persistent problem for you? Your heartburn may be due to a potentially serious condition called acid reflux disease. Ask your doctor about Prilosec. For many people, 1 capsule daily provides 24-hour complete heartburn relief. Ask your doctor about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Want 24-hour heartburn relief with 1 daily dose? Ask your doctor about the 24-hour complete heartburn relief that's possible with Prilosec.
Sunday.
Our children are starving to death morally and spiritually. Who to blame, why it happened, and what we can do about it.
The debate heats up on This Evening with Judith Regan. Powerful primetime Sunday, only on the Fox News Channel. Kosovo. Conditions get hotter. Bombing raids are stepped up, and Milosevic gives no signs of backing down. Depend on Fox News Channel's Team Washington and our reporters and correspondents around the world for complete continuing coverage as events unfold in Kosovo.
Watching scenes of a tragedy, we're talking about kids killing kids. We were talking just before break about warning signs. Lisa, you were saying they were all there. There was a webpage they were talking about Hitler. It was Hitler's birthday. I'm going to read to you from the U.S. Department of Education some of the warning signs that they list for kids who have the potential to become violent. A, social withdrawal. B, excessive feelings of isolation or being alone. Feelings of rejection. Feelings of being picked on or persecuted. Low school interest, low academic performance. I could go on, but Casey, you're a criminologist. Doesn't this sound like perhaps a few 100 million, kids in the world?
It absolutely does, and I don't think any of us are so old we've forgotten the terrors of high school. There were always crowds and cliques. There were always feelings of rejection and ostracism. But we always, you were supposed to bootstrap yourself and buckle down and learn how to deal with rejection and learn coping skills. Today, kids don't want to learn how to cope, don't want to learn social skills, don't want to get a sense of humor. They just want to get angry and hateful and check out. We have changed our definition of normalcy.
Yes, you're saying kids in general. But we know that only 2 kids ended up doing this, as far as we know. As much as this keeps hitting the media, and we have, West Paducah, and we have Jonesboro, and now we have Littleton.
2 kids in a series.
Yes, but you still have millions of kids who are not doing it.
Right.
Who fit the profile of the warning signs. What makes, do you think, these 2 kids so different?
It could be a number of things, but I really do believe that they are created over time. And what I think it is that they continue to evolve unchecked till they get to a breaking point. Now, we know with mass murder, and this is just a whole new typology of mass murder that's evolved in the last few years. There are usually stressors or, as we know, anniversaries, things of significance that cause the straw that breaks the camel's back. And in this case, I think I agree with Lisa that Hitler's birthday was very significant to them. They bought into the entire hate philosophy, and they decided to honor the hate monger of history by doing the massacre.
But let me ask you, are we talking about kids who might have had so much emotional pain that they snapped, or are we talking about normal kids?
They're not normal. They had emotional pain that they couldn't deal with. You know how sociopathics are made over time. What happens with all that pain? You stuff it down until you can't feel anything anymore.
Well, a quick vote right here, just with hands. How many say born bad? How many say made bad? How many say born bad? There was something wrong with them from the beginning. No. Made bad?
Made bad.
Made bad. Okay, I'm going to ask the boys in Littleton when we come back. Born bad or made bad? Come on back and find out.
I'll see you.
Hi, man. Me too.
Me too.
Ah, the credit card game. We've all played it.
I'll go 5.9%.
That an intro rate?
Yeah.
First, you get a great introductory rate, but then it goes up.
So you'll raise us to 17.9% in 6 months?
Yeah.
But now, if you have good credit, you can win the credit card game by calling 1-800-532-2255.
Let's make it interesting.
I'm out.
I'm out.
I'll call.
With the 9.9% fixed rate Visa Platinum card from Capital One.
Fixed?
That's a great hand. It's not an introductory rate. You get a low fixed rate you can trust, platinum perks, and no annual fee. Act now. Call 1-800-532-2255. Transfer your high-interest balances to the 9.9% fixed rate Visa Platinum from Capital One and save hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year. Call 1-800-532-2255 and win the credit card game.
When you've got a serious leak, it's time for Leak Ender 2000. It fixes any leak fast, no matter what's leaking. Just spray it with Leak Ender 2000, and in minutes, the leak is sealed. Look, we'll cut this garden hose with a knife, then shut off the water and spray on Leak Ender 2000. Minutes later, the hose is as good as new. The cut is sealed. Leak Ender 2000 is a unique compound that fills and seals any crack or separation as it hardens. Why put up with gushing gutters, dripping drains, wet windowsills, and rain-soaked RVs? Leak Ender 2000 stops all those leaks, and it's yours for only $14.95. Call now and we'll double your order. We'll send you this giant-sized can at no extra charge. Order now.
To order your Leak Ender 2000, have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-571-2444. Or send check or money order for $14.95 plus $4 shipping to the address on your screen. Call 1-800-571-2444.
In Albuquerque, you'll notice ABQ tags and a lot more than just suitcases, because Albuquerque gives new meaning to the words great outdoors. And with 350 days of sunshine, you may never have to spend a minute indoors. Watch for birds at the Rio Grande Nature Center or play for birdies on our many golf courses. Our terrain will keep your wheels turning, from the challenging to the serene. You can also keep moving even without wheels. For water lovers, there's the Rio Grande. They don't call it River Grande for nothing, with churning waters to conquer and tranquil waters to drift through. Or, if you want, you can stand in one spot the whole day. Our world-famous International Balloon Fiesta will set your pulse racing, and our scenery will take your breath away, even if you prefer to stay on the ground or slightly above it. In Albuquerque, you can play and play and play. To begin your outdoor adventure, call 1-800-537-3244 and receive a free visitor's guide. Visit Albuquerque ASAP.
Our school is destroyed. Personally, I don't think I can ever walk in there again, especially now or sometime near in the future. I mean, how can you walk into a school knowing there's people shot there, people being dead?
You're hearing more voices expressing the pain from Littleton, Colorado. We have two young men with us who were part of that high school, Bo and Chris. We took a vote right here before the break. We spoke about Dylan and Eric, and we said born bad versus gone bad. Here, everyone felt these are kids who have gone bad. They weren't born that way. I'm not so sure I agree. I want to know about you two. What would be your vote?
Yes, I agree. They were gone bad. I mean, nobody can be born bad. You can't predict someone. And, I mean, if you knew him before, and I'll tell you what, Eric in junior high was completely different. And that's when I did know him. I mean, I didn't know him personally, but, I mean, he still kind of kept to himself, but he never threatened anyone. I mean, he was a very helpful person. But I think, yeah, gone bad. I've seen people change over the future who have gone to innocent to, I mean, just...
Chris, tell me why, though. Chris, tell me why. Eric is not the first kid who's been teased. Eric's not the first kid who was different. You know, perhaps in the cities there's more room for being different than there is in suburbia. Could that be part of it? That there's so much more sameness that somebody like Eric might stand out more and get more angry. What do you think?
That's something that I'm still trying to understand. The person who lives in a neighborhood like this had everything he wanted. He had love from his parents. He had a great house. He had a chance to make friends. He had a chance in junior high and high school, but he turned that down, and he got involved with different beliefs, and I think that just completely changed him.
Chris, do you think that this entire, and I commend you for your very sound articulation, you speak very well, do you think that maybe this entire tragedy was the result of some type of cult movement?
Joe, you talk about adults being involved as well, not just kids.
Involved
kids being turned.
By manipulative adults.
Vulnerable kids. You know, that's being asked a lot. Chris and Bo, what do you think of that?
I do think, yeah, they were a cult. They were a cult of their own. That's when I say I blame it on society and culture. I blame it on these type of people.
Well, Joe is asking something even more specific. Do you think there was a formal outside cult that might have recruited these vulnerable two young men?
Well, I'm not really sure. I just want to say before about the born dead. I mean, you're not born a Michael Jordan. You're not born, a Jackie Robinson, and you're not born a Dylan or Harris. I mean, you work up to it. You get different beliefs. You get different attitudes. I mean, you could be part of a cult, and maybe they were. Maybe the trench coat mafia part of it was, but like I said before, some of the trench coat mafia members didn't even know about this, had no idea, so...
Well, I'm going to ask the guests here in the studio to help us out here. What do you think makes a kid snap?
Well, Dr. Wittgen, I think in this case also, too, and again, facts are unfolding really by the hour in this case. You're looking at two people who had a previous history of a brush with the law, and it may not just have been the absence of adult involvement of people that they could relate to or people they felt cared about them. It could also have been, as Joe said, active involvement of adults who espouse these hate ideas, who encourage that, who nurture that. And just like you can nurture a child at junior high age to become something very special and extraordinary, you can do the same thing in a negative capacity. And when you look at the amount of artillery that these young people had, that these teenagers had, you have to say there had to have been adults involved, and around the places where they can get this kind of weaponry and these bullets, because if they can get the weapons, a lot of times it's very difficult to get the bullets and to get the ammunition. There's restrictions on that. Are adults who are part of these hate groups, and that's something that we need to really look into.
Let me ask about the flip side of adult involvement, and I'm asking Casey and Al specifically. Many are saying it was a parent's job to really go in there and find out they're adults, but others are saying, what about children's privacy? Now, it seems to me that parents are responsible for doctors even when you have teens. They're responsible for cars. Are they not also responsible for making sure their children are not building bombs? What about this privacy issue?
Privacy is always going to take a back seat to public safety. I'm going to agree with Lisa that the fact is these kids were susceptible. If they were actually targeted, they were susceptible. They had no sense of purpose, no identity, no confidence, no strength. And the parents, I really do believe it is their obligation as parents to notice this in their kids.
But for identity, very often kids bond together. We know that, Chris and Bo know that kids form cliques. There are lots of trench coat mafia kids, it seems, who would have never done
this. But Dr. Wittgen, we've seen also, we've seen with child predators, with the sexual molesters, how they prey upon children using the internet. This can be done as well for these type of hate groups, where they could be making those associations that foster these beliefs.
And the hate was so profound that they even asked, where is the nigger?
Right.
Went and found him and shot him. You cannot tell me that people around him, parents, teachers, and his peers, were not cognizant of the fact that they were going over the edge.
Let's talk about parents for a moment. Is it possible for children to be receptive to that kind of racism if they have not heard it in some form at home? And I'm asking that innocently.
If they have not heard it at home, yes, they could be affected by it, but the power of the home ultimately will overcome the fact that... Precisely.
Al, you
I
want to jump in?
believe that teenagers are at the most emotional time of their life. They've just learned how to have feelings. They do not know how to control them. They don't have the experience. But when you have the availability of guns and that emotion comes out, a reaction will come that there is no tomorrow about. It's a dead issue.
Very important point, because what we're finding is being teased and breaking up with your boyfriend, girlfriend are the number 1 and 2 reasons for suicide. So you're saying that two teens who are just having strong emotions, this feels like forever, they take drastic measures, and guns make it possible?
They think it's the end of the world, even if a girlfriend leaves you. That's why kids kill themselves. They go, if they're bullied or pushed around by someone, they go and they kill someone. They don't realize that tomorrow they will learn how to handle people like this.
So the answer is?
The answer is don't make guns, don't make the internet available where you can make bombs. Keep these things out of the hands
Parents,
of
be
kids who
vigilant.
are not responsible enough to handle
Parents, teachers, you agree on that? Stick with us. We're going to come back, and we're going to find out how you get through this, how you get to the next step after terror in the Rockies. Come on back.
Here comes Grandma.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Mom. It was great to visit Mom and Dad. They were so happy to see us.
And our first USA Platinum MasterCard helped us get there.
Call now to get your first USA Platinum MasterCard. You'll get a low introductory 3.9% APR on purchases and balance transfers, a low 9.99% fixed APR after that, and a high credit line.
Making the trip was a lot easier using our card. We bought our airline tickets over the internet.
And we got free insurance when we rented our car.
That saved us money.
And now you could save hundreds of dollars on new purchases and purchases you've already made when you transfer balances. Pay off high-interest cards and save with your low introductory 3.9% APR.
It's nice having just one bill to pay. It really saves us time.
And our high credit line helps us do the things we need and want to do, like our trip to Mom and Dad.
Call now for your Platinum card with an introductory 3.9% APR, a 9.99% APR after that, and no annual fee.
Laura had a big surprise for Mom. She learned to play a special song on the piano.
We even use our MasterCard to pay for her lesson.
And to make the trip extra special, we bought her a new dress.
We get a lot from our card.
It's true. Remember when somebody broke this lamp? Oh. Purchase Assurance replaced it for us at no cost.
Call now and you can also get a free travel bag and amenity kit with your first purchase or balance transfer. The first USA Platinum MasterCard. You'll use it every day and for priceless occasions too.
Call 1-800-581-6840 for a fixed introductory 3.9% fixed APR on purchases and balance transfers, a 9.99% APR after that, and your free travel bag and amenity kit with your first USA Platinum MasterCard. Call 1-800-581-6840 now.
After months of investigation, it's the end of deliberations. Do they now know her killer? And will the evidence stand up in court? Fox News correspondent Carol McKinley has live updates and reports of events as they unfold. Stay with the Fox News channel for continuing coverage. The John Benet Ramsey case. Kosovo. From the NATO action to the latest reaction around the world, get all you need to know and up-to-the-minute details on the conflict in Kosovo. From FoxNews.com.
Welcome back. We have in Littleton, Bo and Chris. Let me ask you, we were talking here about privacy and saying it's far more important to protect our children and protect our community than respect their privacy. Go in the room, check things out. Do you agree?
Yes, I do, definitely. I mean, I say screw the privacy in a way. My mom has gone to my room, and I mean, she found some stuff, and it's really changed. It changed my life because, I mean, she sat down, talked to me, and she was involved. She came to my school, and she talked to my teachers. What's up? I mean, in middle school, all my grades are going down. What's up with them? And it changed. It definitely changed. And
Good for you, Bo. Good for you that you really saw the value of that. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for giving parents permission to know that children will understand that. I'm going to ask you much tougher questions now. I'm going to start with Al here in the studio. Al, you've been through an experience like these two boys have. You lost your son to a shooter who was another teen. I know that you felt grief. You said you're still feeling grief. When you saw this, your wife was crying. Is forgiveness important for moving on, or are you still angry?
I'm still angry.
Okay.
And I always try to tell people, this is an important issue. Don't wait till you qualify to wear a button like I do before you say something should be done.
Right. So you don't feel it's necessary to forgive to move on? What do you do with your anger?
I would like for the killer to have been remorseful, but that does not mean that I would not want him to serve his time in jail.
Okay.
I believe people have a chance to change, but I don't believe they change unless they're in jail for an awful long time.
So you want punishment and you're still angry?
Right now, the reason there was so much attention to 13 people being killed by these two teenagers, because it was 13.